If it feels like housing is getting more unaffordable, it's because it is. The 2025 edition of Demographia International Housing Affordability, authored by Wendell Cox, confirms what many homebuyers already suspect. Affordability is in decline. The report examines 95 major housing markets across 8 countries. Now in its 21st year, the study reveals a troubling trend: affordability continues to erode, especially in jurisdictions with strict land use regulations. Generally, the cost of living is highest, where municipal governments impose the greatest restrictions on suburban growth. Urban containment strategies such as greenbelts, zoning rules, and growth boundaries are often introduced to curb urban sprawl and promote sustainability. But by limiting the land available for development, they drive up the cost of land and, by extension, housing. The effects are especially stark in places like the United Kingdom, California, Washington, Oregon, Colorado, New Zealand, Australia, and much of Canada, jurisdictions where these growth-limiting policies dominate urban planning. Joel Kotkin, director of the Chapman University Center and a longtime California resident, calls the consequences feudalizing. In the feudal system, peasants owed their fortunes, including housing, to the graces of their overlords. Kotkin says the primary victims are young people, minorities, and immigrants. Restrictive housing policies may be packaged as progressive, but they're actually regressive. The same pattern applies to Canada. Even after COVID-19 disrupted the economy, Canadian housing affordability remained critically strained. In fact, most major Canadian markets got slightly worse. Demographia measures affordability using the median multiple, the ratio of median house price to median household income. This ratio shows how many years of income are needed to buy a home. Around 1990, a home typically cost 3 times the average income. A ratio still considered affordable. Anything above that lands on a scale of unaffordability, with scores of 9 or more deemed impossibly unaffordable. Canada's national median multiple is 5.4, placing it in the severely unaffordable category. That's worse than the United States at 4.8, which is seriously unaffordable, and slightly better than the United Kingdom's 5.6. Canada also trails Ireland at 5.1 and Singapore at 4.2. New Zealand stands at 7.7, Australia at 9.7, and Hong Kong at an extreme 14.4. Among Canadian cities, only Edmonton lands in the moderately unaffordable range. Its 3.7 score is 5th best in the world. Calgary sits at 4.8, followed by Ottawa-Gatineau at 5.0, Montreal at 5.8, Toronto at 8.4, and Vancouver at 11.8, which ranks as the 4th least affordable city in the world. This marks a sharp change for Toronto, where affordability remained relatively stable with a median multiple below 4 through 2004. Though designed to increase sustainability, these planning models have significantly reduced land availability and driven home prices out of reach for many. As urbanist Jane Jacobs once said, "If planning helps people, they ought to be better off as a result, not worse off." The data makes it clear. They aren't. Yet, despite growing evidence, federal and provincial leaders continue to sidestep the core issue. In the report, Frontier Center President David Lees says Canadian policymakers are scrambling to magic wand more housing, but they continue to mostly ignore the main reason for our dysfunctional, costly housing markets: suburban land use restrictions. New planning concepts such as the 15-minute city may worsen matters. This approach aims to create communities where residents can access shops, services, and their workplace within a short walk or bike ride. While appealing in theory, it can further restrict development. It can also intensify affordability pressures. There is, however, a sliver of optimism. The shift toward remote work may ease pressure in high-cost urban centers as more Canadians choose to live in areas with lower housing costs. Whether governments address the root causes or not, people are already making choices that reflect affordability realities. Increasingly, the heart of a major city is no longer the preferred destination for middle-class Canadians. For many, housing affordability isn't just an economic issue. It's about opportunity, stability, and the ability to build a future.